Yo, growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need.
This is the Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 36.
Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Good boy.
With that.
That's a microphone.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He wants to coach a soccer team someday, Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. With running your own business, legal questions always come with the territory. Like, can I use this contract or agreement? What do I do if a client doesn't pay? Am I even structured the right way for taxes? Instead of Googling your way through legal landmines, imagine having a law firm ready to address your business's legal needs without the sticker shock. That's what you get with Legal Shield's small business plans. Legal Shield helps entrepreneurs access real legal help on contract reviews, collection letters, business formation guidance, and even help navigating IRS audits. Members can schedule consultations, upload documents through the app, and get support from a provider law firm that knows small business laws in your state. Plus, consultations on taxes or trademarks help you stay ahead of potential problems. And if a client is late on a payment, Legal Shield steps in with professional collection letters so you can protect your hard-earned revenue, all for a fraction of the price of hiring a lawyer on your own. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI.
Yep. That was my son you heard at the beginning of the podcast, 2.25 years old. And it's just crazy how fast he's growing up. I mean, we're having full conversations now. I mean, he negotiates. Like, what's that about? He negotiates, and it's unbelievable. He's actually really good at it too. Anyways, thanks for listening in. This is the Smart Passive Income Podcast, session number 36. My name is Pat Flynn, and today we're continuing our success story interview series that we started in the last session number 35. And that was a fantastic interview with Ryan Nicodemus and Joshua Fields Milburn from theminimalist.com. And this one is just as good. So let's get right into it. And I'll be posting a few more of these in the next few weeks. So you should see these coming more often and more frequently than I usually post podcasts. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. So today I have the pleasure of having Sunil on the show. Sunil. I've actually known Sunil for a while, not in person. I didn't go to school with him or anything, but through the blogosphere, actually. He commented on my blog a number of times in the past, and that's how I've gotten to know him. And, I visited his blog, and he actually has a blog of his own in the same space as me, where he talks about how he's making money online. But he's really upfront to say that most of his money that he makes doesn't come from that site. Unlike myself at this moment in time, most of it comes from outside of his entrepreneurial blog. And Sunil comes from the financial industry, and he's created several, and I mean like over 20 several different businesses, passive income businesses online since 2002, two of which we're going to talk about today, one in the travel niche and the other, well, I guess you could say it's in the travel niche, but not really. You'll see. It's actually a pretty interesting story. But in total, I will tell you, he has over 20 different websites, all creating passive income for him. He has published over 20 ebooks. He sold a company to an eBay power seller for $250,000 in 2007. It's just he's all over the map, and like myself, he loves to share how he's done it. So I'm really happy to have him on the show today. He's been doing this a lot longer than me and has a lot of wisdom to share, and he's got a cool accent too. So let's check out the success story interview with Sunil. Enjoy. Sunil, dude, thanks so much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, Pat, and thanks for taking time out of your busy day to speak to me today.
Oh, my pleasure, of course. Now, you have a lot of stuff going on. You said, and I read this in an email you sent to me, that you've had over 15 websites going on before you started Extra Money Blog, which is where I know you from. So tell me kind of what was your first experience with doing websites and how you got started, and would love to hear that story.
Sure, Pat. When I first started looking into internet business, I was actually working as a consultant. I was working my professional and educational background. I'm a CPA, a certified public accountant. I'm also a chartered financial analyst. So I was working for a big consulting firm, often on the road and traveling. And I was fairly actively involved in real estate, which is something I still do today. So just like you, I'm a big proponent of passive income, which helps us all take control of our time, freedom and flexibility. And because of that, real estate was something I got into. Now, because of the profession, it kept me away from home quite a bit, traveling. And as a result, over time, deal after deal kept coming through my inbox, through MLS listings, through my agents. But yet I couldn't act on them because I was working 80, 90 hours a week. I mean, the money was fantastic, but as you know, corporate life has its own set of pros and cons. And one of it is with a traveling job, it just keeps you away. Mm-hmm. And being the entrepreneur that I am, I started looking into ways I could control or execute my real estate endeavors remotely from wherever I am. And the more I looked into it, the more I felt it would be a little difficult to do because real estate is such a business where it's very local, it's very tangible. You got to touch, see, look, feel,
Hmm.
deal with the local partners and whatnot. So that is when I started looking into other methods of generating income, passive income preferably, and I started reading various blogs and how to create website tutorials meant for beginners such as myself. And I spent a good, I would say, year and a half, almost 2 years, Pat, before I took any action. I was uh, initially skeptical of it. There's a lot of fluff out there.
Hmm.
It's really difficult when you're brand new to this kind of thing, knowing who to tune into and who to tune out. So that was a struggle initially, but luckily I stumbled across the right sources, absorbed everything I could for a year and a half, and when I finally felt that it's time to take action. And by the way, I wouldn't, looking back in hindsight, I wouldn't recommend waiting that long. You gotta be a fast mover, gotta take the action. The internet is very forgiving. It forgives a lot of the errors we make, and we can learn as we go.
Right.
So you know, coming back to myself, it took me that long, but I finally pulled the trigger using a product. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's called Site Build It,
I am.
and it's a comprehensive website suite per se, as they call it, an all-in-one, really meant for the beginner who doesn't really care to get involved with the technicalities and whatnot. So it perfectly, appealed to me. I said it's only at the time it was 300 bucks. It still is actually 300 bucks, and I said it's an investment well, worth making. Let's give it a shot. So that was sort of my first experience with commercializing or delving into websites with the intention of generating revenue. And I thought about, as I was going through the tutorials, the first phase is coming up with your topic, brainstorming the website concept, the niche you're going to be in, starting with the root keyword, as we all often start our endeavors with today. So, I wrote down pretty much a bunch of topics that I felt somewhat passionate about, and topics that related to me and my family. And one of them was the Emirate of Dubai. Dubai is one of 7 emirates in the United Arab Emirates, and the reason that was one of my root keywords is because my wife is originally from there, and the more I drilled down into the keyword, I thought, okay, this is something that I know a lot about. It'd be cool to create a holiday site, something for people from the West, Europeans, as a resource for them when they're looking to travel to Dubai. So, without much thought, really just dived right into it. And my wife, being from Dubai, helped me along the way. The website was, it took a good, I'd say, 12 or even, I think even 12 or more months. I think at the 14th month mark, we decided, okay, let's start monetizing this. Let's put some AdSense. And as you can imagine, 14 months into it, there was just a ton of content that was
Hmm.
created.
How often were you creating content for this site?
Oh boy, it kind of went in spurts because at the time I was still working. So what happened was I was setting aside weekends and I would batch process content creation. So one weekend I might have 10, 15, 20 pages go up and
Hmm.
then nothing for the next 5 days. But then when the next weekend rolled around, I was back in my room or sometimes at Panera, wherever I could get some peace and quiet, cranking out content. So it was a gradual process, but over time, uh, we were able to build hundreds and hundreds of pages. I think today, as I look back, and And mind you, I haven't touched the site in terms of adding new content to it for at least 3 years now, I would say.
Wow.
Well, a little under 3 years. I did some updates to it, but it's been a while and I haven't touched it. And the beauty of it is it was set up in a way that it still generates a consistent stream of income for me. In fact, there was a period of time where the income only kept increasing month over month because more of those web pages were getting indexed. More of those web pages were starting to get backlinks. Some of the backlinking efforts I put in long time ago were just now coming to fruition as search engines updated their index and whatnot. I don't really know when and what, how they do it, but that was the only theory I could come up with. I put in all this effort, months had gone by, and suddenly I'm seeing the results trickle in. So, that was an interesting revelation, if you will.
Mm.
And that, as I was building the site with my wife, I was also learning at the same time, whether that's learning about basic HTML coding, whether it's learning about basic internet marketing principles, backlink building, what's the right domain to use, keyword research, things of that nature. So slowly over time, component by component, piece by piece, I was learning what the industry was all about, how things really came together and worked together. And it was really, I would say, at the 2 to 3 year mark where I finally realized that, I think I have something here. I think I really understand what's going on. I understand how to do business online, how to get a website up on the first page of Google, things of that nature. So that's when I started dabbling into various other niche areas per se,
Mm-hmm.
where I saw demand and relatively decent to low competition. Where I said, okay, knowing what I already know, I can probably recreate what I've done a lot faster and
Right.
not having to repeat some of the mistakes or run into the same walls that I ran into. As over time, we only get better with things. So, and that proved right. I started my second site, my third site, and a lot of these, as I started more sites, a lot of them came from my personal experience. So before even conducting any type of research out of thin air, I looked at I looked within and said, okay, what do I know? What am I good at? I know the finance industry really well. I know mergers and acquisitions really well. I know investments really well. Uh, I know dividends really well. I know, in fact, I think I've shared this with you, but as a frequent traveler, I have had my share of experiences with airlines. And I'm not going to name any names, but there are some airlines that are very good at deferring your problems per se. I've had many instances where I've lost my luggage, and all they did was toss me around from one customer service department to another, often, ending in frustration. And then they send you $125 check in exchange for your luggage, not knowing what was in it. But long story short, I figured a lot of people are probably in the same shoes that I am. And because they cannot deal with the airlines effectively, they just end up getting frustrated and back off.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's still their loss. So what I did is I turned my experience successfully suing a few airlines in small claims court and successfully collecting what I was truly owed. Uh, I had the right documentation in place, the right way to present your case to the court. That compiled all that information into an ebook that I felt many people can benefit from if they truly have a genuine stance. And that website has done really well. That website is suetheairline.com. And speaking of numbers to date, that book, the last I checked, it sold over 1,000 copies, which for me, it might not be that big of a number for a lot of marketers out there that are doing really well. But for me, that was a big achievement.
That's
Uh,
great. How much does that book sell for?
I have it out there for 19.99. Uh, it sells. It used to sell slightly more than that, I believe, on Barnes and Noble and Amazon, but because of they have some policies where I think you have to normalize the price to what you're
Mhm.
selling it for elsewhere. I think it's back down to 19.99. I haven't looked at that site again in quite some time, and that's the beauty of it. If executed properly, and I know you're a big proponent of this, work hard now and reap the benefits for months and years to come. You put in the right diligence, the right execution, and the benefits are long term indeed in nature.
Right. Okay, we have a lot to cover here. I have a lot of questions about what you just talked over. But first of all, just thank you for sharing that. It's a great story, and it's amazing how it's how easy it seems that you can just take something from your own life and put it online, and educate people about it, and then start to make money from it. I mean, have you had any failures along the way?
Quite a bit, quite a bit. There are, I tried eBaying for a bit. Um, Found that it was very, very difficult to compete with manufacturers literally selling directly from their manufacturing shops.
Mhm.
eBay over time has gone from a garage sale to more of a direct business to consumer uh, selling platform. So lost a lot of money in eBay fees, not knowing what I was doing, things of that nature. And then I also, back in 2005, started a e-commerce business with designer fragrances, essentially.
Mhm.
It was when I was traveling overseas, I realized that the same products that are manufactured in the US are sold overseas at a different price point. So it made sense to re-import those products back into the country and sell them locally and still undercut the retailers. So started that venture, and that was a different kind of a failure path. The business made money, but it wasn't planned correctly. In other words, it started growing a little too faster than what we could handle.
Mhm.
So a lot of people, for example, would buy online, and let's say they bought 20 products, but our systems weren't designed to reflect the quantities on hand. So we could probably fulfill, let's say, I'm just throwing numbers out there, we could fulfill half the order. We would send them 10 products, but then we will have to issue them a refund for the other 10. Now, the disadvantage in that is each time you're processing something and then you have to refund that same amount, you're paying credit card processing charges on both ends.
Mm.
So a lot of losses started to pile up. It was a very low margin business. Um, so definitely, I mean, that was a failure. Uh, Several other failures in the offline world, with real estate initially, not having a fine-tuned strategy, just overpaying for properties, and we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. You make a mistake in real estate, it could really cost you big. But yeah, to answer your question, uh, the Dubai Holidays website, the Saudi Airlines website, though these are successes, these were predicated by several uh, attempts that didn't, quite go as well as I planned. But we all learn from them. We all uh, learn and execute and try to do something better
Mhm.
each time we reattempt. I mean, that's a common trait all successful entrepreneurs have. So my takeaway from all that is keep trying. In the recent times, I would say, because I have stuck to uh, quote unquote the business model that I've found success with, that tends to be doing just fine for me. So a lot of success is there. I will tell you, however, that blogging is brand new to me. So I started the blog less than 18 months ago or so, and honestly, it doesn't. I spend the most amount of my time on the blog, trying to really chronicle everything I've done. So while, I feel that it gives the most value out of everything else that I do, it really doesn't bring in much from a monetary perspective, and that's fine. I mean, I didn't go into it expecting it to be a big financial success. It was sort of a capstone project that
Right.
documents, a lot of the different things I've done offline and online.
Yeah, it sounds very similar to how when I started smartpassiveincome.com. So maybe in the future you'll get to that point where that blog will start to take off as well. So I hope so. I mean, I know the information on it is good enough. So maybe just over a little bit of time. But it's great to hear that all these things are going well. I want to go back to when you first started with that site build it site and your Dubai site. You said you had it up and you were just creating content for it. You had a job at this time that you were devoting 80 to 90 hours a week, and you would develop content pretty much on the weekends or whenever you had time. Now, 14 months later, fast forward when you start to put AdSense on it, kind of what kind of numbers were you seeing as far as the AdSense is concerned, and how much are you seeing today still?
Yeah, in fact, I got it right here in front of me. I could go to my AdSense account for that particular website, and my first month, it was just under $30. So it was actually that was actually pretty good for me. I mean, having read other people's experiences with AdSense, I was pleasantly surprised. But then at the same time, this wasn't a brand new site. It was a site over a year old. It had some traffic. It had good traffic coming in actually, and so I wasn't surprised by the $30. But what was pleasant is that 30 kept incrementally increasing. Uh, you know, I didn't go from 30 to 40. I think I jumped from 30 to 60, 60 to in the low 100s. It stayed in the 100s for a few months. And then the jumps after that were exponential. So from 100 to 300
Wow.
to 600. And today, actually, as we speak, it makes roughly $1,500 in AdSense, which it was actually making more back in, look at this, back in October is when October, November timeframe, the site was hit pretty badly with the because it's a content
Mhm.
heavy content based site.
Mhm.
This was when Google had launched the Panda update, and the site took a big beating. Uh, this site was getting in its prime, it was surpassing 4,000 visitors per day. Now, as I see it, it's 2,500 on
Mhm.
average. So again, that 2,500 was actually lower post Panda, and slowly it's picking up back again, but it has seemed to have hit a ceiling where it just wouldn't go past that.
Mhm.
So, we're continuing to try different things, going back, maybe thickening some of the quote unquote thin pages, the thin content, uh, some of the basically following some of the guidelines Google's put up there. But to answer your question, the site now today, last few months, it's averaging roughly $1,500 in AdSense. But then the site over time, as we've evolved, we've put a lot of affiliate offers. The website itself has two ebooks that we sell on it. One of those ebooks was personally written by me. Uh,
Very cool.
so basically, how to get a job in Abu Dhabi, which is a tax-free haven, and there's a very specific interviewing culture. The way you get jobs in those kinds of Gulf Coast countries is very different. The whole culture is different. So there was a market for that, and that book again sells very well. So, between the affiliates and the books and the other offers I have on there, we also do lead generation for people who want to start businesses there. We refer them to a business startup office, some local accountants and lawyers in Dubai. So that brings another roughly $1,500. So all in all, the site does bring in roughly $3,000 monthly. And again, it's purely passive from all the work that was put in beforehand.
Mhm. That's great. I mean, what kind of content is on that site, and how big are those posts? On average, or are they big, small, or
They're actually good question. They're actually quite healthy. I mean, the site is the name of the site is the Dubai Information Site, and it's geared towards holidays in Dubai for folks who want to visit Dubai or recently have moved there. So it's an information-based site that covers all the aspects of Dubai, from travel, tourism, to hotels, to flights, calling cards, getting the best deals, talking about the culture, the economy, the currency. If you don't know anything about Dubai and you happen to find this site, it'll educate you on everything you need to know. And the USP per se of this site is everything is coming from a personal firsthand perspective. So when you read it, you will feel like I am or my wife is having a personal one-on-one conversation with you. It is not doesn't have a commercial look, feel, touch, tone, none of that in it. So you know it's not a commercially focused site.
Right.
As far as the size of the content, there are about 40 what I call tier two pages, which are the main pages that are linked directly to my homepage. Those pages, some of them are as uh, large as, I'd say, 4 to 6,000 words. So it's pretty uh, heavy from a content perspective. Now, each one of those tier two pages have their respective tier three pages, the third layer per se, and those are all linked to the tier two pages. Those tier three pages range from 500 words to 1,000 words. Some here and there are more than 1,000 because the topic calls for it. Such as the your transportation options in Dubai, for example. There are just so many of them, and now they just added the metro train, so I have to actually go back and update that. But some are long, but the shortest you'll find there is 500. The reason why we went back and started to look for thin content is because at one point we had integrated a question and answer section, a forum where people could personally ask questions. And a lot of times people would ask questions and we would respond, and that would be the extent to it. And the SPI system creates a single page just for that. So in Google's eyes, they see that as an independent page, and sometimes, it could be less than 100 words. And that definitely is specified in the Panda update as a big no-no. So we went back and actually tried to consolidate a lot of those. So that's what we're trying to do and seeing if it's going to make any impact in the coming months here.
Okay, so this site is still it's information dash or excuse me Dubai dash information dash site.com. It's still on Site Build It.
It is, yeah. Actually, a lot of many of my niche websites are on Site Built It. And I purposely wanted to do it that way, and then I purposely built some sites on the WordPress platform as well, niche sites, to sort of compare what gives me the better, I guess, better ROI in terms of the time I invest versus the results I get. So I'm actually running those experiments, and I do plan to dissect those in the future.
Okay, any sort of insights really quick as far as WordPress versus Site Build It as you're going through the experiment right now?
So far, Pat, I'll tell you, WordPress is a fantastic platform that can quickly get you up and running. All kinds of plugins out there. It's amazing. Site Build It, however, does have some back-end functionality that sort of just operates behind the scenes. Uh, I'll give you an example. Each time you create a static page for your niche website, it automatically updates and rearranges your sitemap in the backend, and it automatically resubmits that and pings the various ping avenues, which WordPress does as well. But for some reason, I just feel like as I'm building content, as I'm creating content, a lot of the SPI content is getting indexed quicker, faster. I'm starting to see more traffic there. One inherent limitation I feel with WordPress uh, a lot of times is if a person doesn't, if a site owner doesn't do a good job adjusting those permalinks so that your actual URL is SEO friendly. A lot of times blog URLs have those funny characters, the dates, the months, etc. You can bypass that by creating pages instead, and modifying the permalink structure. But even after doing that, I just feel there's something in the back end that just expedites the results I'm getting with the SPI site. But to answer your question, yes, the Dubai information site. By the way, with dashes or without, I bought both the
Okay,
domains.
cool.
So uh, so yes, that's still on SPI as well as several other websites.
Okay, very interesting. A couple of other questions before we finish up, and I know you have a ton more websites that we could talk about, but I want to keep it short here. And we have two good examples here: the Dubai site, and then also the Sue the Airlines site. Now, for the Dubai site, you said you were doing some backlinking. Like, what type of backlinking were you doing, and kind of what's been working for you?
Yeah, so a couple things. When I first started, so e-zine articles was my primary avenue, which actually still is today. After I create a niche site, I give it about a week, and then I go back and make sure all the web pages I created are indexed. And once they're indexed, I make sure I take each one of them and I submit to eZine, because as long as you're the actual uh, if you hold the rights to the content, you can submit that content to eZine, and that's okay. Um, One thing I would caution is not to submit it too quick, because eZine is an established platform. And if you go and submit that content to eZine, chances are it'll be indexed before it is on your own website. So
Mm,
if that happens, uh, although it's your content, once it is indexed on your website, the search engines will penalize you for duplicate content, because you submitted it too quick to eZine, and because eZine is such an established platform, it's pretty much indexed overnight or the minute you submit it.
mm,
So that's the one caution I'd put there. So give it some time. But initially, that's what I was doing. I was building content, waiting till it was indexed, and then going back to eZine, starting to get those eZine links. And the way I did them is in the signature section of eZine, I had put one link to the homepage of the website and another link to a deep page. The homepage, I would spell out the link as in www.dubaiinformationsite.com, but the link that I would use to point back to a deep page, that would be anchored by a keyword, a relevant keyword,
okay.
preferably preferably the keyword that particular deep page you're linking to is optimized for.
Right.
Um, so that that's one strategy. And as time progressed, now today actually I have a group of sites such as Squidoo is one of them, Go Articles another, Amazines. There are a handful of sites, and I know you talk about them as well in your backlinking strategy.
Mhm.
Sort of the same approach. You take content, either create new content or spin existing content. Uh, Same concepts in terms of creating the links. Just got to be careful. I think some of these article submission sites give you credit, a follow link for a link that is in the content versus the resource box, and some do it the other way around.
Mhm.
But over time, I've learned that mixing and matching follow and do follow links is perfectly fine. It gives you a variety, and it looks more natural to search engines rather than just focusing on do follow, which is a lot of us get too tied up with that.
Right.
So it's good to mix it up. Then what I do is, for some sites in the past, I've actually uh, two small sites that I created just in this past year. What I wanted to do is see, okay, does link wheeling work, or does sticking to traditional backlinking, does that is that better? So I started doing some link wheeling experiments where I would take 4 to 5 sites such as eZine, Squidoo, Go Articles. I would submit articles to all those sites, but then I would have anchor texts linking from one of those to another, so forming a wheel, but at the same time, each of those articles in each one of those sites also linking back to my website.
Mhm.
And then, so that would be the actual link wheel. But then I would use a tool such as Unique Article Wizard, for example. I would submit an article there and start driving hordes of links back to that particular link wheel. So I wanted to compare that versus taking a website and just linking to it from various sites like eZine without really forming a link wheel. and then promoting those articles on eZine and Go Articles by driving hordes of links from Unique Article Wizard. Um, it was an interesting experiment because both sites did well, and these are micro niche websites, so under 10 pages each. Both did really well, but over time, the site where I applied link wheeling seems to have surpassed the site. But again, the other side. But then again, there are a lot of other factors too. So
Yeah,
it's
it's hard
hard.
to do experiments like that. I mean,
Yeah, it's
with
so
just
hard. It's
uh,
it's so hard. There's so many variables. You're absolutely right.
yeah. I mean, it would be interesting if you had, say, 10 or even 100. I mean, that's what you really need to understand exactly what Google's trying to do. But that's it's always good to do experiments like that, even if if you have your own niche sites and your own businesses, just see what works, because you can always change things around and apply things in the new sites that you create in the future.
Yep.
Now, there's a couple, like I said, a couple questions, and these are kind of more mindset questions now. Or actually, before I get into that, your Dubai site, most of your traffic comes from Google.
Absolutely. Between Google, Yahoo, and Bing, they pretty much, I think 80% of the traffic comes from there.
Okay, and then for your airline site, Sue the airline site, which is more of the site just looks like a landing page that sells an ebook. How are you driving traffic to that site?
Yeah, good question. It does look like just a sales page, but honest, if you go all the way on the bottom, there is actually a small link there that says articles. And when you click that link, you'll see a whole database, a whole library of articles, 40 plus articles. And
Oh, okay.
basically, each one of those articles is optimized for a specific and relevant keyword. And the theory here is each one of these articles is linked back to the homepage. Therefore, if you can drive PR juice and link building efforts, and if you can drive traffic to these underlying pages, they essentially push up the homepage higher up on search engine rankings, the whole pyramid concept. So a lot of the traffic is actually coming from organic searches, and then I do get a lot of direct traffic because this book, like I said, is on a few other platforms such as Google Books, Kindle, and then Barnes and Noble, and then also ClickBank. So I have a lot of affiliates, for example, that are driving traffic to the sales page. So when I look at the pie chart on Google Analytics, search engines is a big chunk, but a big chunk is also referral traffic,
Mm-hmm.
and that referral traffic is divvied up into these avenues I just talked about. But then I also get other and direct, and those are just, I don't know how to explain those, but I guess there are people hard coding this stuff in. So
Yeah, well, that's
yeah.
cool. Okay, that's great. That's great advice, actually. So, I mean, those one-page sales pages, they don't really work anymore, it seems, and I think that's a great strategy to use to get some search engine traffic for a landing page type of site that sells an ebook. If you don't, for example, have a blog with an audience, so I think that's really smart, and again, something that can be experimented with. Now, if you were just, giving advice to someone who is starting out and who was like, Sunil, what I don't feel like I have any life experiences like you do to share. How can I start an online business? What would you say?
I'd say, all of us, if you will really take a step back to evaluate ourselves, look within, you will find something. And if there is not, find a way to create it, make it happen, delve into something, pursue something that's totally foreign to you. Some story will come out of it. Uh, and even if you don't have one, I think we live in a world where just there's so many good blogs out there. I mean, look at your blog, for example. There's so many personal stories being shared, stuff that works versus stuff that doesn't. So if somebody is interested in doing business online, yes, having a story is great. If they don't, they can create one, make one happen, sure. But if all else fails, just look at what people are doing. Find something that you're passionate or interested about, because if you have that interest in learning something, you can learn along the way as well. You can learn and at the same time develop something with a profit motive. So you don't necessarily have to be the expert when you start. You can develop into one as you're kind of moving along the process. At the same time, you're learning, and at the same time, you're talking about it or teaching it, or you don't have to teach it, but whatever you're doing, building a niche site, an information site, just putting everything you've learned there, you will find a way to monetize it. There are just so many avenues out there today.
Yeah, I absolutely 100% agree with you. I really, truly believe that everyone has it in them to create an online business of some kind. It's just have to, some people have to work harder to find that. And
Yeah, totally. And you know what, too, Pat, is another thing I'd add is a lot of people, when they think online business, they think, okay, I need to have a niche site. I need to have some sort of a website, a blog, a forum, something out there. Honestly, you don't need any type of a web property. You can still generate income online. You've talked about submitting articles to places like InfoBarrel and making some money from there. Me myself, I have so many ebooks that don't sell on any particular websites per se. They're just out there in cyberspace. So if somebody has a passion for writing, create ebooks. I mean, with the platforms we have there today, I mean, Barnes, Amazon, these guys have a group of hungry audience just waiting for the next best release. I mean, the ebooks themselves, and I don't think I've mentioned this to you, but I have over 20 ebooks out there, and they all sell really well. So again, take something you're interested in, or take a passion, or take an episode from your own life, your experience, your profession, anything it is. There is likely a group of audience out there who's, one, interested, and two, willing to pay for that information to make their life easier. So it's possible.
Yep, absolutely. Great. Well, thank you, Sunil. I appreciate your time. We ran over a little bit about than what I planned on, but it was because we had some great information on here. And thank you for the insight and the inspiration. Now, if anyone wanted to get in contact with you or find out more about you and what you do, where would they go?
Pat, the best way I would say is the Extra Money blog. So without the duh, so just Extra Money blog. That is where I have a pretty comprehensive page about me, where I come from, what I do today. And I also talk a lot about all these niche sites and ebooks right on that Extra Money blog. So definitely come in and say hi. In fact, Pat, I'd love for you to come and comment on my About Me page. I'm collecting, that's sort of my collection page there. So
Cool.
I definitely want to.
I'd be happy to. Again, I really enjoy the content on your site. I know I don't really comment as much as I probably should around the web, but I will do that for you. Absolutely.
Just once, Pat.
Okay. Just once. I could do that.
All right.
All right, man. Take care. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks. My pleasure.
All right, bye.
Bye.
So I hope you enjoyed the interview today with Sunil from extramoneyblog.com. Thank you once again, Sunil, for your time. And if you have just 1 minute and you haven't done so already, please help push the SPI podcast up in the rankings by leaving a rating and comment in iTunes. Or if you're on Stitcher listening to this on Stitcher as well. I read each and every one of them. I appreciate them so much. They are so motivating to me. And if you have some constructive criticism and you only rate 1 star, if you're going to do that, that's fine, as long as you're honest. And I would love your feedback. Currently, we're up to 356 5-star reviews, and 5 is the most that you can have on iTunes. So that's awesome. So thank you so much for everyone who's done that already. It's just incredible. Thank you so much. So to finish off, here's to you and your success. And don't forget that no matter what you do online or wherever, if you want to succeed, it's all about providing value and helping as many people as possible. That's why I'm here on the podcast. That's why I do YouTube videos. That's why I'm on the blog. I'm trying to be everywhere to help as many people as possible, and it's always paid me back. So cheers. Thank you so much for your support, and all the best. Take care. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Hey, fellow podcaster, does this sound like something you've experienced? Record your podcast episode on one platform, download the files, edit in another app, then fire up a different tool just to create these social clips? Well, it can be clunky, time-consuming, and frankly overwhelming, especially for creators trying to grow. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Riverside. Riverside is the all-in-one platform. Record, edit, and repurpose your podcast content all in one place. You just log in, record with your guests no matter where you are in the world, and just like that, studio quality audio and high resolution video. We use Riverside here at SPI as well now. With built-in AI, I can automatically clean up my audio, saving myself so much editing time, and it can even auto-generate clips to make promoting the show a breeze. And with Magic Clips, I can grab the best moments and repurpose them as short-form video, perfect for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram, without re-recording a thing. So if you're tired of juggling tools and want a faster, simpler way to create and scale your content, it's time to try Riverside, built by creators for creators. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART. I get it. You want to grow your business, but selling at scale feels overwhelming. You're drowning in complicated funnels, creating different lead magnets, or constantly posting on social media. And that gets exhausting fast, especially when you're trying to sell to hundreds or thousands of people. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? A score app quiz or assessment asks your audience key questions and gives them instant personalized results based on their answers. Your audience gets to know where they are now and shows them the steps they need to hit their goals. You can set up a quiz in minutes using Score App's templates and have a powerful lead magnet that'll do the selling for you. The best part is your audience actually wants to take this quiz, and you build huge amounts of trust before you even make a single offer. No hard sales, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. Just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI.